pellet testing. Yes, pellet testing is one of the most critical factors when it comes to Benchrest. You need to make sure that you find the pellet that your barrel absolutely loves. So, obviously, the best thing to do is have a whole array of pellets, and that's what most people do. Unfortunately, because we're on a budget, we don't have a whole array of pellets. So, what I would suggest, what you could do if you wanted to do this, so I've got a friend who shoots quite a lot of pistols, and he uses air arms, the 10 grains, as well as the JSB 10 grains. I've got some of my own JSB 8.44s, and I also have some JTS 8.7 grains. So this is actually the second session I've done. So I've recorded the results from the first session, and I'm not going to take you through shooting each and every pellet, because obviously that would be very monotonous. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take the groups, shoot the groups, and then I'm going to show you the groups and then how I've got to my conclusion at the end of the day, which pellet I'm going to stick to. So one thing you want to remember when you're doing this pellet testing, try to test as many pellets as possible. Firstly, record the conditions that you have on each day that you've been shooting. So that's also very important. And then try to use the same hold, the same everything when you're shooting each and every pellet. So this is also very important. And I would say what I'm going to do, I'm going to test at least 3 different days, 3 different circumstances, just so that I can get a nice average of the pellets that I'm testing. And going forward, if I find a pellet and a different pellet that I would like to test, then definitely I'll still use the same method and then just compare it to the best out of what I've found so far. So let me get cracking, and I'm going to come back to you with the results shortly. Alright, so before we go through all of this pellet testing, I just wanted to say something that happened to me while I was busy testing. Was sometimes you might not get the results that you want, and that definitely was the case with me. I was expecting to get tighter groups with the long barrel. I had to switch over to the shorter barrel. So yeah, in hindsight, it's easy to say, yeah, but I should have started with this, I should have done this, but that's why we test, and it's to make sure that we get the best pellet for this rifle, for this barrel. So just something you need to consider when you do your testing is you're going to need to test it on, if you've got more than one barrel, test it on the different barrels. Don't just test it on one. So you might need to have a couple of extra pellets if you're going to do some more testing, and test as much as you can. Make sure that you test across the range, different conditions, so that you can get the broadest spectrum, and hopefully that gives you the best results. Also, another thing that I just wanted to mention, when you do this testing, make sure that you do it after you've done the work on the internals. Don't do the work on the internals, don't do the testing and then do the work on the internals, because that changes the speed of the rifle. Changing the speed affects how the pellet reacts to the barrel. So definitely first do the work on the internals, and then you can do the testing of the pellets. So yeah, just wanted to share that quick. Let's have a look at those results. Let's see what we came up with. Conditions on day 1 were pretty good, around 21 degrees, 18 degrees of wind, or 18 kilometers an hour. Started off with the 844s. 844s looked good, and we actually did 2 groups with them, and they both looked decent. Then we had the JTS, a little bit bigger, 26, but definitely not a train smash. We also did the air arms, the 10 grains, and they also looked fairly decent, 22mm group. So far it looks like it was the JSB and the air arms. The JSB heavies did not do well, 24 today, but you'll see going forward this definitely dropped off quite a lot. So in summary, the best one for the first day was definitely the JSB 844s, and let's see if that trend continues. Day 2, similar conditions to day 1, also 22 degrees, but the wind a little bit heavier, 23. And on day 2, definitely the JSB shot the best out of all of them. But the JTS also had a fairly decent group at about 18, but still the best was the JSBs. So at this stage it looks like JSB, Air Arms, and then JTS. But definitely the JSB heavies fell way out of the group here. Day 3 I decided I'm going to test all of them, but the results were very bad for the JTS and the JSB heavies, so I'm only showing here the Air Arms and the JSBs, and definitely again the JSBs came out on top. This is the JSB 844s. They looked the best out of this rifle. And then I also tested it with the silencer as well as without the silencer, just to see if it made a difference, but they were pretty similar with and without the silencer. So yeah, so I think that's going to be our main pellet going forward, is the JSB 844s. So at this stage I wasn't getting the best results with the long barrel, so I put on the short barrel, and I also bought some more JSBs, and I also bought some of these Meisterkugeln, and definitely they both shot pretty well out of the short barrel. The groups looks very good, and I thought, well, if this is what we're getting out of the RWS as well as the JSB, I might as well share this results with you as well. So definitely the Meisterkugeln looks good, but the JSB still just edged it on majority of the groups. So looks like we're still going to be sticking to the JSB 844s. Alright, so looking back at the results, definitely we can see the JSBs did the best quite comfortably. The Meisterkugeln also did fairly well, so I'll maybe do a little bit more testing with them as well, but definitely the JSB 844s came out the best. So what I'm going to do now, next video you're going to see, I'm going to shoot basically a baseline for this rifle as it is, modded internals, the best pellet we've got to date, and we're going to shoot the baseline, and then we're going to take the steps that comes after that to see what we can do to get even more accuracy out of this rifle. So just to give you an idea, I was expecting a little bit more out of this, to be honest with you. I was expecting to get groups around about a 1/2 inch out of the box. However, most of our groups is around about 3/4 inch groups at this stage, around about 18 to 20 millimeters. Groups that we've found where I was expecting more like 12 or 13 millimeter groups. However, we're a long way from done with this, so definitely we're going to be doing a lot more testing, a lot more shooting, and there's a lot more that we can do to inch out every little millimeter of accuracy out of this little rifle. So stay tuned. Next up, let's do that baseline. Let's do a complete card, see what score we shoot, and then we have to try and improve it from that score card. Till next time, happy shooting, see you around.